Alright, hold up, Steelers Nation, because things are heating up in Pittsburgh, and you don't want to miss this. I'm Jack Romano, and I just got some info that could totally flip the script on what we thought about the Steelers this season. We're talking crazy trade rumors, a veteran popping up on the offensive line, a controversial name linked to the secondary, and even a surprising roster cut that's shaking things up behind the scenes. It all comes back to one question. Is this roster really ready to compete? Stick with me until the very end because there's a bombshell coming. But first, a quick favor. Our mission here is to keep the black and gold tradition strong. It's fan talking to fan. So hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the family. Your support keeps the spirit of Steelers football alive. Thanks everyone. And check out what's been buzzing in the back channels. A wild ESPN scenario that has the Steelers and Colts in a potential trade nobody saw coming. The chatter is that Bill Barnwell suggested Pittsburgh could go after Anthony Richardson, the young Colts quarterback who hasn't quite broken out yet but has the kind of physical upside that makes any analyst sit up and take notice. Now, for the people already asking, Jack, why? Hold on, I'll explain. The Steelers currently have 4 QBs on the roster. Skylar Thompson, rookie Will Howard, plus Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. But let's be real, Rodgers and Rudolph aren't forever. And betting that neither of them gets hurt all season is a long shot. Richardson wouldn't be expensive either. His contract has manageable numbers, $1 million in 2025 and $5.4 million in 2026, all guaranteed. It's a bet on the future, a lottery ticket that could pay off big or go nowhere. What gets me is that Richardson has only thrown 348 passes in the NFL. That's not even a full season for a starter. So there's a lot of untapped potential there. And the question ESPN is raising is, should the black and gold take that risk? This is one of those that's really dividing fans. I'm on the fence myself. On one hand, bringing in a raw talent could be genius, especially if Rodgers has one last run in him and can mentor the kid. On the other hand, betting on an unfinished project might mean cutting 2 guys the fans already know, like Thompson and Howard. And let me tell you, the discussion in the Steel Nation forums is fire, with some people saying it would be a steal to get Richardson on the cheap, and others flat out saying it's a waste of time. What I know is that we always keep it real here. This kind of breakdown is exclusive, and if you don't stick around, you'll miss the most explosive part that connects it all together. Now think about it. Will the front office have the guts to make this kind of move when the roster needs reinforcements in other areas? I want to hear your take. Comment below if you'd be down to see Richardson in Pittsburgh. Because the next point, guys, might just explain how this offensive move is connected to our struggles on the offensive line. You won't believe what they're saying in Pittsburgh about the offensive line, and trust me, this cuts right to the heart of Steelers Nation. The talk now revolves around La'el Collins, the veteran who's been with the Cowboys and Bengals and who just became available after being released in Dallas during training camp. The thing is, our swing tackle position is in a rough spot. Calvin Anderson, who was supposed to be the main guy we could count on, got hurt early in camp and is still in the process of trying to get back to 100%. Meanwhile, Dylan Cook showed some flashes and had a promising practice, but he regressed in the game against the Panthers and has cooled down. In other words, we can't be confident that this rotation will hold up if Broderick Jones or Troy Fautanu need a breather, or if there's an unexpected injury. And that's where Collins comes in. He's no star, but he's got experience. 71 games as a starter in the league, a guy who knows how to handle pressure. The risk, of course, is the injury history that's always followed him, but for the right price and as a depth piece, it could be a smart move. Imagine having Collins on the practice squad, practicing, and ready to be activated if things go south. It creates a safety net the team doesn't have right now. I know a lot of fans in the groups were asking, Jack, isn't this just trading one problem for another? And I get it, because Collins isn't the promising young guy he once was, but we can't ignore the need we have. The proof is there. Every Steel Nation forum is buzzing with this possibility, and some people are even saying we shouldn't think twice about bringing him in. This is the kind of analysis you only hear here because the mainstream media treats it as a minor detail, but anyone who's a true fan knows the offensive line is the backbone of any winning team. If you don't stick around, you'll miss the connection between this discussion and another controversial name who might be joining the defense. Guys, comment below. Would you like to see a veteran like Collins wearing the black and gold? Honestly, I think it could be that quiet move that changes a decisive game down the line. Hang tight, because the next topic brings a big name with a lot of baggage that could divide the fan base even more. Man, what I heard earlier today is going to keep a lot of people up at night, because the name being linked to the Steelers is none other than Shiloh Sanders, who just had a messy exit from the Buccaneers. That's right. Deion Sanders' son is a free agent, and according to Bleacher Report, Pittsburgh is one of the most likely destinations, a lot of it because of his connection with Kelvin Fisher, our West Coast scout. Now, pair that with Minkah Fitzpatrick being traded to the Miami Dolphins back in June, and you can see why this buzz is picking up steam. Fans were split the second the news hit. On one side, people are saying it's a golden opportunity to get a young talent and mold a new pillar in the secondary. On the other, people are looking at his recent history and shaking their heads. Remember, in the preseason game against the Bills, Sanders lost his temper and got aggressive, throwing a punch right in the middle of the game. That made a lot of people question his maturity. Then you get to the interesting part: low risk, high reward. Signing the guy wouldn't cost much, and if it worked out, we could have a long-term solution without a big cap hit. But it's a classic boom or bust case. And look, the guys in the Steel Nation forums are going nuts with endless debates. Some are saying, just get him, let Tomlin work on the kid's mind. Others swear it would be another locker room bomb, especially after Antonio Brown's public criticism of the Sanders family, which only adds fuel to the fire. And here, just between us, this is the only place you'll hear this kind of breakdown. Pittsburgh is at a turning point where it has to take a chance on names that can be game changers, but every wrong move can cost way too much. If you don't stick around to the end, you'll miss the most explosive part, because this connects directly to a tough decision that's already happened and has the locker room on high alert. I want to know from you, the real fans, would you accept Shiloh in the black and gold, even with all that baggage? Comment below, because this is the time for Steelers Nation to make its voice heard. Hold on tight, because the next point is an official cut that goes right to the heart of anyone who was rooting for a defensive reinforcement. Listen up, this is a hot one, coming straight from the roster cuts, and it could change a lot about the team's defensive plan. The Pittsburgh Steelers have decided to release Quindell Johnson, the former 49ers defensive back, and that came as a surprise to a lot of people who follow the team day to day. Johnson arrived with some hype, coming off solid seasons at the University of Memphis, where he was practically a defensive leader, racking up tackles, interceptions, and forcing turnovers. In college, he was seen as a high-energy guy who set the tone for the group, but his path in the NFL has been rough. He's been with the Rams, Bears, and 49ers before landing in Pittsburgh this past June. During the preseason, he managed to show something with 10 tackles in 3 games, but it apparently wasn't enough to secure a spot on this increasingly competitive roster. Now, why does this matter so much? Because it shows just how high the coaching staff is setting the bar. It's not enough to have a good college resume or have bounced around other teams. And this is rattling the nerves of everyone in the locker room, because they all know the axe can fall at any time. Steelers Nation has already reacted big time, with a lot of people saying Johnson could have been a good depth piece, especially after Fitzpatrick's departure. But it seems Tomlin and the staff opted for players who are a better fit for the current system. This is the kind of exclusive analysis you only get here. Cutting Johnson is more than just opening up a roster spot, it's sending a clear message to the young guys and even the veterans that the front office isn't going to wait for anyone to get it together. Either you produce results immediately, or the door is right there. The feeling is one of tension, because if a guy with experience and good college numbers couldn't make it, imagine the guy still trying to carve out a spot. And look, if you don't stick around to the end, you'll miss the final conclusion that ties all this news together into a single vision of where this team really stands. So comment below, true fans. Do you think it was the right call to let go of Johnson now, or should they have given him more time to see what he could do? I have to admit I was torn, because even if he wasn't a star, having more depth is never a bad thing. But hang on, because in the conclusion, I'm going to pull all these points together and show you what this team is really all about. So, after everything we've talked about today, you can feel the vibe in Pittsburgh. Risky trade rumors, a veteran option popping up on the line, a controversial name linked to the secondary, and a roster cut that sent a clear message to the locker room. All of this shows that the Steelers are at a critical point, adjusting piece by piece to try and be competitive this season. But will all these puzzle pieces fit together? This is the home of the real Steelers Nation, and I want to hear from you. Drop your take in the comments because the next video is going to bring even more heavy stuff.